Hello, my name is Joel Christ. I'm a developer with Acona Systems, and today I'm going to be doing a walk through the process of creating and editing custom document information panels from Office SharePoint Server 2007. Before we create a custom document information panel, we're going to create a site content type that we will associate the document information panel with. So the first thing we're going to do is to create a Word document template that we'll use later on as the document template for the site content type. Today we're going to be working with a fictional project status report content type. So let's go ahead and create a document template in Microsoft Word. So I'm in Microsoft Word 2007, and I'm going to go ahead and create just a simple document that we're going to use as the document template for that content type. So we'll put some text in it to identify this file as a project status report, and then we're going to go ahead and save our document template. And I've gone ahead and created a local folder on my hard drive called Project Status Reports. And I'm going to go ahead and save this as a Project Status Report template. And we're going to specify that the type is a Word template .x. So it's Project Status Report template .x in the Project Status Reports folder. Go ahead and say save. So at this point here, we've gone ahead and created our document template that we're going to use as the document template for our project status report content type. The next thing we're going to do is to create two site columns, which we will use later when defining the project status report content type. So I'm in SharePoint Server 2007 right now, and I'm going to come to the Site Actions menu and come down to Site Settings, modify all site settings, and I'm going to choose to create some site columns here. So in the site column gallery, I'm going to hit the create link here. And the first column I'm going to create is called project name. We're going to keep it as a single line of text. We're going to create a new group called project status reports so that we can group our site columns all within that group. And we're going to say that yes, it requires information, and then we're going to leave the other properties as their defaults, and then say OK. And we're going to choose to create another site column. We're going to call this one Project Owner. Again, it's going to be a single line of text. This time, though, we're going to choose from the existing group, and we're going to choose our Project Status Reports group to place the site column in, and say again that it's required and leave the others at their defaults, and say OK. Now that we've created our document template and our two site columns, we're ready to create the Project Status Report site content type. So I'm going to come again into the site settings here for the site, and now I'm going to choose site content types. I'm going to choose to create a new type. And I'm going to name this project status report. And for the parent content type, I'm going to choose from the document content types, and then I'm going to choose the document content type for the parent. And I'm going to create a new group just to keep things organized. Call it Project Status Reports, and then say OK. Okay, so now we have our Project Status Report content type created. Now we can come down here, we can choose to add some columns to that site content type. So I'm going to choose to add from existing site columns. And now I can come in here and I can choose my Project Status Reports group, and I can choose to add the project name and project owner site columns that we created earlier, and then say OK. And then the next thing we can do now is to come in under the advanced settings and choose to associate our Word document template that we created earlier as the document template for this content type. So we can upload a new document template. And there's our project status report template.x file. And we'll leave the other properties at their defaults and say OK. Okay, so now we've created our content type. We've associated our two columns, our project name and project owner columns with that content type, and we've also associated our document template, our Word document, as the document template for that content type. Now we're ready to create the document information panel for the project status report content type. So I'm going to come down here and click on the document information panel settings link and choose to create a new custom template. And then SharePoint launches InfoPath with the data source wizard running. And when we bring up the form that InfoPath generates for us, we can see it's used the schema for our content type to generate the form template. So we see our project name and project owner columns that we added showing up as properties here on the document information panel. And we also see that we have the default title property visible here as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit this form template, and we're going to delete the project title controls for that property. We don't want to see that on our project status reports. And then we're ready now at this point here to publish our changed form back to our content type on the SharePoint site. So first we have to save a local copy of our template. And we're going to save it in the same folder as our Word document template. And now we can choose to publish the template back, and by default InfoPath recommends that we publish it back as a document information panel for our site content type. So we'll leave that choice selected, hit next, and verify everything looks fine, then choose to publish. And it looks like the template was published successfully. Okay, so we're back on our SharePoint server site, and now we're going to create a document library for our project status reports. So I'm going to come to Site Actions, Site Settings, modify all site settings, and I'm going to choose to create a new document library. And we're going to name it Project Status Reports. And we'll use the same for the description. And we're going to set the document template to be a Microsoft Office Word document and say Create. Okay, now at this point here we can come in and modify the settings for the document library. First thing we're going to do is on the Advanced Settings page, allow management of content types. This will allow us to associate our project status report content type with this document library. And say OK. OK. Now if we come down here, what we can do, we now have a content types section visible here. We can choose to add from existing site content types. And if we choose our project status report group here, we now see that we have our project status report content type that we can choose to add to this library. Say OK. Alrighty, now just to tidy things up a little bit, we're going to get rid of the default document content type that was associated with that library. And so if we come in here and choose to delete this content type, yes. Now we can see that our only choice for content types in this library is project status reports. Okay, so now that we've created our document library and associated our project status report content type with that document library, if you come back over here to the project status reports library, choose to create a new project status report, SharePoint launches Microsoft Word, loads up our template that we created with our placeholder text for this is a project status report, displays the document information panel up here with our two properties for our content type, project name and project owner. And we can see that they're both required. So at this point here, if we try to save our document without filling in those property values, Word catches that we did not fill in our properties on the document and warns us of this, and then takes us back to the document information panel and tells us that we need to fill in some values here. Now we can retry the save. And if we go ahead and get out of Word and come back over here, SharePoint refreshes the view. We now see we have our project status report document visible to us right now. So by creating a custom document information panel for our project status report content type, we were then able to add the content type to a document library and allow users to specify the required project status report properties when creating and editing project status report documents.